First, halo, Theo Janvin. Bentar ya. Kita setting monitornya dulu nih buat memantau chat-nya. BTW bener 4.1 nanti Iron Penti kah? Sama Hiu Tao. Bentar. Alright, Theo Janvin. Nanti ya, saya add nanti, add friend. Tenang Theo Janvin, reply chatnya nanti ada kok. Nanti gua tinggal lihat ulang ya tayangan ini. Nanti di add friend, Oke, udah set semua. Tapi sekarang muncul ya live chatnya. Kayaknya ngebug kalau gua jalanin 2 OBS. Terus ke Oke, udah keset semua. Game. Halo semua, gua Jimmy dan selamat datang kembali teman-teman di game Genshin Impact. Oke, kita udah di Fontaine, kita udah di Quest Archon Chapter 4 part 1. Kita udah masuk ke dunia drama di sini. Seperti yang kita lihat teman-teman, di sini ada sebuah tragedi. Insiden yang seharusnya tidak terjadi ya, dan menewaskan satu orang asistennya Lyney dan Lynette. Katanya dia asisten yang dibilang cukup terbaik lah ya, dan masih awal-awal gitu teman-teman. Oke, kita disuruh investigasi ngebantu Lyney buat kasus tersangkanya ini, tersangkanya ya. Lyney jadi tersangka dengan Furina teman-teman. Furina Archon Hydro kita di sini. Madul kita sambil lanjut ya di sini, sambil ngobrol-ngobrol juga. terkait quest ini ya. Soalnya semalam gua udah sempat mainkan sih, sampai sekarang udah di titik ini ya questnya. Oh, gua sambil record dulu sebentar, lupa gue. Record via OBS. Start record. Alright then. Interaknya tekan E. Nih filletnya tadi semalam ada ya. Sekarang dia keluar, katanya lagi ngebantu urusin permasalahan ini. Dan sekarang ada detektif Paemon, teman-teman. Dia pakai kacamata dong.
The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks?
Kita kenal Archon Hydro selama ini kayak ini ya. Dia tuh kayak pemeran antagonis kalau bagi gue. Dia apa ya? Kembang api.
Why are you suddenly so serious, traveler?
Hal yang putus.
Whoa. Look! This bit is made from different material!
Kayaknya kayak kebakar atau udah rapuh atau gimana, ngerti tuh.
Most of it was burned away,
Bakar.
but there's still a little bit of it left.
Banyak mudah terbakar, sejadiin kapas buat nyalain api.
So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material in it, then that means... Wait! Why don't you write all this down? Let's take notes!
Katanya bukan aksiden, teman-teman. Ada yang lainnya di sini. Sehingga banyak yang mengira nih kecelakaan gitu. Dia tuh apa ya? Gue lanjut ke Furina tadi ya. Sampai kepotong tadi. Archon Furina itu yang Archon Hydro kita di sini di konten tuh orangnya kayak asik gitu loh. Tapi di sisi lain sisi antagonisnya apa ya, dia tuh suka membuat traveler ini jadi pengen debat sama Furina gitu loh. Jadi kayak bikin drama sendiri Furinanya. Oke. Maurice.
Hello there! What are you investigating?
Oh, this location has also been cordoned off because the Magic Troop members are currently considered prime suspects. The investigation team is still collecting evidence. The seats were all booked in advance, so we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity by checking the guest list.
Oh, boleh kasih tahu?
Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later anyway when we petition the public to help us find the missing person. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontaine who's made a bit of a name for herself.
Oh, dia seorang gadis Halsey, namanya Halsey, gadis pelukis.
Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which made her decide to come see the magic show. The Magic Troop members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grievances or conflicts of interest with the suspects. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troop at all, which matches the features of the previous serial disappearances.
Were the victims of previous cases also chosen at random?
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range, there really weren't any other connections between them.
Gadis-gadis yang hilang rentang usianya kurang lebih sama katanya.
Okay then.
Thank you infonya.
I don't need to be so formal. If you do happen to see the missing girl, please be sure to contact us. It is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom of these disappearances.
Informasi tentang identitas gadis yang hilang, Halsey. Gak ada konflik maupun perselisihan dengan Lyney. Ntar tinggal gue gatel. Oke.
If you do encounter Miss Halsey, please contact the guards immediately.
Yang di sini. Oke.
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's an issue with the random number selector after all.
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think the murderer would have still made his move then?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Lyney and Lynette with their side of the investigation. What were you saying about the number selector? There's something wrong with it?
You're trying to help them? That'll be a tall order.
Lyney used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? The lucky girl that later disappeared. Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away for further inspection.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine picks that same number every time. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a seat, regardless of whether it's a trial or some performance. In other words, Lyney knew who would be sitting where from the very beginning.
That much checks out. Lyney reserved our seats for us too.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Lyney.
Thank you.
Even though it's bad for Lyney's case, Paimon had better write it down.
Pemilih nomor acak, sebuah perangkat yang digunakan dalam pertunjukan sulap Lyney. Pemilih penonton yang beruntung. Jadi ada mesinnya itu ada yang memanipulasi, tetapi belum tahu siapa orangnya.
Lyney's magic tricks were the stuff of legends, but the way he did this crime, he should have stuck to doing magic.
Look, doing magic tricks is one thing. Pulling off crime is something else entirely. Maybe he was just too full of himself.
I see that you're investigating the
Kita
area.
interaksi satu-satu dulu teman-teman
Well, it just so
sebelum
happens
ke
that I'm
objektivitasnya.
interested too. If you find any new and interesting leads, be sure to share them with me, all right?
We don't have too many thoughts yet.
Then why don't I tell you my hypothesis first? The way I see it. And I'll start it with that loud thud.
The thud? Oh, you mean the sound that happened during the countdown?
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud, but I suspect that most people heard it. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lyney's trick with bated breath, so no one paid it much mind. But now that the incident has happened, the thud has become an important clue.
That makes sense. So, what do you make of it?
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Lyney's accomplice, Lynette perhaps, jumping atop the water tank or something like that. And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water tank crashing down.
But wasn't the noise we heard too loud for that?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly rough landing. Oh, that's true. I suppose I must reconsider.
That does remind Paimon though. What was with that sound?
Suara aneh ketika pertunjukan sulap. Di tengah pertunjukan terdengar suara dentuman keras yang terdengar jelas oleh banyak penonton.
Could it be that I didn't see it happen?
Visual suka gue. Ini dia nih, Lyney
Lyney's
sama
still
Lyney.
talking to the guards. It seems he'll have a lot of explaining to do. I think someone will be assigned to monitor us later, but that's alright.
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here!
Oh,
Keeping an eye on you for a while now. Huh? You mean us? That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth. No? Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you? Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names? Well, I am the second generation president. Malus and the others are still used to my previous title.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine. Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula anyway. All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, back to the situation at hand. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. My interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Lyney an unlikely mastermind. Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking for clues now. But how did you come to that conclusion? Intuition, naturally.
Intuition.
My unparalleled intuition. Furina sure was quick to point the finger at Lyney without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she? But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Furina was going to back down in that situation. Sounds more like you just don't trust the Hydro Archon. Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that I'll blindly agree with her.
Itu kan bukan berarti aku terus-terusan memang dia
Alright,
kan.
I've answered your question. Now, it's time you answer mine. Wait a minute, did that answer count? Well, I say it does. But don't worry, you won't hear any pointless questions from me. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Pengadilan dan sandiwara.
Well? And why would that be?
Nanti kebenarannya dicari-cari malah jadi dikesampingkan. Sidang itu bukan bercanda, sebaiknya jangan jadi bahan hiburan.
See, Silver and Malus? I told you they'd be different.
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. I too think that the traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
Alright, that's quite enough, Malus. Anyway, I like your answer. You passed with flying colors. Now,
to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence. You two shall be my assistants.
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Huh? Oh, well, I can be the assistant, sure. Or your companion if you like. I'm really not that fussy.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth. You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances. In this sense, our goals are aligned.
You have a point. You're quite the talker, aren't you, mister?
Oh, satu ini pinter bang.
And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
I have nothing to add.
Oh, alrighty then.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Lyney's tricks. Thanks!
Speaking of that, I think magic shows would be very popular in Poisson.
I can see that. Maybe I should try to learn some magic. If I can make things disappear, cleaning my room would be a cinch.
You need not worry about such things, Demoiselle. That falls under my duties.
Oh, right. But no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave, you must register your identity with us first.
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Lyney and Lynette as attorneys, so we're investigating the case. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes. After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity then either.
How can you be so sure,
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance at that time. I couldn't see Lyney's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much as even approached the door, I would have noticed it, let alone if they had tried to leave. We Melazines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have left through here. Alright, thank you for your help. This will be useful info.
Kondisi keluar masuk gedung opera, tidak ada yang meninggalkan gedung opera selama pertunjukan sulap. Dan setelah insiden itu terjadi, hanya mereka yang identitasnya sudah selesai diperiksa oleh guard sajalah yang dapat pergi. Berarti kalau mau keluar dari pintu itu harus daftar dulu katanya. Daftarkan identitas mereka ke guard.
We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Lyney's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we? Ooh, things are getting interesting, huh? We're about to see how magic is made.
My apologies, but access to the venue is restricted at this time. Please register first.
Please register first. Iya bener nggak bisa keluar. Gue mau coba ke atas deh. Oke, kebuka. Gua pikir nggak kebuka teman-teman. Ini panggung di atasnya ya. Suka gue arsitekturnya. di sana Lyney.
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you if I could.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got the firepower. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me Navia. I'm a partner of theirs, and will be helping investigate this whole situation. And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large scale.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared specifically for this switcheroo trick. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did all that go?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back? You mean the inside of the door? What's different about it? Paimon didn't notice anything.
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board.
Oh,
So,
ada
if you put
motifnya.
2 and 2 together, what do you get?
Kotak di dalam kotak. Makes sense sih.
Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how it works as we head down.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
Ya, ini menghubungkan kedua kotaknya.
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw this place. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the 2 entrances of the tunnel. See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside another box.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved along the trolley, all while the outer box would remain on stage as if nothing had ever changed.
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Bagian Lyney.
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the end!
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box. That's how we were able to coordinate Lyney's lines with the assistant. And by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked! Wow! Every detail you revealed was more amazing than the last!
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime. Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime, so Lyney and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
Trik magic, trik sulap. Ini menjelaskan secara detail tentang trik sulap tersebut dengan menggunakan kotak di dalam kotak. Kotak berisi penonton dipindahkan ke sisi seberang melalui terowongan atau tunnel. Sementara melalui terowongan yang sama, Lyney pun mengarah ke sisi berlawanannya. Sementara itu setelah mengganti pakaiannya, Lynette dan asistennya akan mengambil alih interaksi yang terjadi di atas panggung. Kotak sulap di panggung memiliki lapisan tambahan di bagian belakangnya sebagai tempat persembunyian Lynette yang berpakaian Lyney. Nantinya Lynette akan muncul di akhir trik sulap untuk meyakinkan para penonton kalau Lyney dapat pindah secara langsung ke kotak di sisi lain. Kotak sulap di tengah tribun penonton memiliki dua lapisan. Di bawah ada pintu masuk ke terowongan bawah tanah. Begitulah cara penonton yang beruntung dipindahkan tanpa disadari penonton lainnya. Oh. Kotak di dalam kotak. Perlu tangga untuk membawa kotaknya ke atas. Station control.
What's this?
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh? There's all kinds of odds and ends here.
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But why would it have been left here?
Whatever it is, let's make a note of it first.
Tali pengait yang terjatuh. Seutas tali yang terjatuh ke tanah, sebuah kait logam telah terikat ke salah satu ujung tali ini. Entah untuk apa gunanya.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
I don't know, tell Janvin.
Why would there be water here?
Maybe it's about algorithm YouTube.
Oh, Paimon knows! It's one of those tricks where you pour water into a jug and then flip the jug over only for the water to disappear. And here's a broken vase. Huh. Did the trolley knock it down while
ketabrak troli.
That can't be. The trolley moves along tracks from start to finish. It couldn't have hit the vase at this distance.
Let's note this down too and think about it later.
Vas bunganya pecah, ada banyak pecahan vas bunganya di salah satu sisi terowongan. Air yang ada di dalamnya tumpah semua. Dilihat dari kejauhan, sepertinya penyebabnya tidak mungkin karena ketabrak gerobak yang difungsikan mengangkut kotak sulap itu. Ada sesuatu yang terjadi di dalam terowongan. Pakaian?
Oh, these are the clothes that the lady chosen from the audience was wearing, right? Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
Right. And do you really need to do that if you're kidnapping them?
Ininya berubah loh.
Ugh, this is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be a detective anymore.
Pakaian si gadis Halsey, wanita yang hilang ditemukan di terowongan. Bajunya masih di sini, gadisnya hilang. Gadisnya pakai kutang doang gitu, hilangnya. Harus sangat presisi. Areal ini digunakan agar trolinya tetap ada di jalurnya seharusnya. Akurasi ya, ketepatan. Oke. Lurus ke depan kah? Oke. Segala jenis peralatan dan kostum dijejalkan secara berantakan di dalam. Trolinya ini, terus di sini ada fan, ventilasi, lubang ventilasi gitu teman-teman. Terakhir.
What is this place?
Saluran ventilasi.
It seems someone could fit through here.
Could this have been the suspect's escape route?
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, the space would be too narrow.
But there are no other ways in or out of here.
Lyney dan Lynette ada di dalam kotak.
Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that down.
Ventilasi terowongan. Kalaupun dipaksakan, ventilasi terowongan paling memungkinkan dilewati satu orang saja. Sehingga nggak mustahil kalau harus melewatinya bersama juga dengan wanita hilang tersebut. Jadi satu terowongan itu ya hanya satu orang aja ya. Satu yang di ventilasi ini maksudnya.
Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes, let's head back up.
Salah. Shortcutnya tadi tekan yang
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns. Seems to me that there are several things that don't add up here.
Oh, inilah hasil investigasinya teman-teman. Tanda tanya.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found hiding there.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like the kind you usually see in novels.
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable. No wonder Furina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Lyney and Lynette.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the oratrice will hear statements from both sides. That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced.
Energi.
The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the oratrice. To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
Menarik juga konsep pengadilannya.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision.
Bahkan
This too will be used by the oratrice as a reference.
sidang pengadilan pun ada manfaatnya buat kota ini. Menghasilkan resource atau sumber alamnya sendiri.
Finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? I thought Neverlet called the shots.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment, which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice. Yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Huh? Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That said, are they providing food?
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
Siapa juga yang pilih-pilih makanan saat gini?
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous desserts, too. I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets?
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all. Just kidding! Paimon will still do her best, even if there are no snacks.
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply make some.
Huh? Here? But how?
Understood, Demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the Demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my awesome snacks soon enough.
These three are quite the interesting group. And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still in the oven! Oh, it's even better now. Paimon can't stop drooling. From the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself! Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything!
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking, aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty beating egg whites and baking like this?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give these a try, fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us.
Only 3?
Ada variatif muka-mukanya di sini. Penghias di kuenya ini.
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite, strong black tea with a floral fragrance that clears the mind and lifts the spirit.
Thank you.
No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Lyney and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
Si gadis dan si korban.
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third person. But the only people left to consider are both technically victims, whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making her escape?
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off. Nor does she have any motive. The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the magic troop's members.
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great! They're nice and crisp and super sweet!
They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right! Paimon only counted 3! Honest!
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No! Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
Alright, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal. Malus, set up the stove again if you would.
Huh? What are you doing?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Telur gua kaca amo semua ada. Kalimatnya deja vu lagi.
Wow, this really is your hobby, huh?
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
Alright, thanks for your help, and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Kemungkinan keterlibatan pihak ketiga. Tidak ada motif jelas yang diketahui atas kejadian menembak Howell ataupun Halsey. Tetapi setelah berbicara dengan Navia, kemungkinan adanya orang ketiga sangat rendah.
Alright, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to get our defense ready for the trial. Oh, it's probably gonna be a long and difficult case. There's no point worrying about that now. We just need to prepare. Here, take Paimon's notes. They should help you review the situation.
Mana catatan Paimon kata ngasih? Di tas kah? Di mana yang ngeceknya, lupa gue. Vision Child. Di mana yang ngecek? Oh, ini nih.
Why would it be him? How strange. Why would it be him? How strange. Gosh, no wonder the serial disappearances never got solved. We all heard that noise, didn't we? The performance would not have been visible from where the doors were guarded. If Paimon were on duty, she would have snuck back into the audience seating. Well, there was no chance Paimon could have seen that the box had 2 layers. And that's why only the 2 of them can perform this trick. There was no third person. And Paimon didn't eat more than 3 macarons either. Digging a tunnel just for a magic trick? Whew, that must have been a lot of work. That size wouldn't have been a problem for Paimon. Whoever the murderer was, they must have made preparations well beforehand. This rope was obviously tampered with. People needed to register and reserve a seat for the show. That, combined with this number selector, could allow you to pick a young could hook onto a lot of things. Like the traveler's fishing rod! This flower vase is probably a prop for the show. But it also could have been used in the crime. Paimon doesn't get this at all. You think about it for a bit, traveler.
Ada satu, enggak, 3 lagi ya, masih tanda tanya tadi. Oke lah, kayaknya gue putar dulu aja waktunya. Oh, di hari berikutnya. Ada 3 lagi ya, masih jadi misteri, masih tanda tanya gitu teman-teman. Mungkin seiring berjalannya sidang kali ya, entah jadi kebuka yang tanda tanya itu atau investigasinya. Oh, titik panorama. Ora Chris Mechanicule, the Analyst Cardinal. Oke, kita pikirkan pelan-pelan aja ya.
Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lyney and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Furina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well, now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of
Senang
course.
tapi ya gue
The
kalau
guilty can never produce proof of their innocence.
udah langsung ke Archon Hydro ini ya.
But don't let
Secepat
that
itu
stop
kita
you.
ketemu Archon
I
Hydro.
shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Lyney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Lyney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Furina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Lyney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Pandangan ora Chris. Dia melihat dari sisi penontonnya juga ya. Memang benar nih mekanismenya. Menarik banget Fonten sidangnya ini. Di sisi lain ada energinya juga dihasilkan buat kota Fontaine.
You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
Retui.
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting in Discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Lyney! Why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. Lyney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Furina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
Dan sekarang
Please answer my question, Mr. Lyney.
bagus juga buat thumbnail.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Tersangka.
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
Pantas kita masuk ke Sumeru itu dunia akan pengetahuan ya. Ternyata kalau udah masuk ke pengadilan
Stick to Mr. Lyney's defense even after knowing what you do now.
harus tahu
You
banyak
certainly have
pengetahuan
more
juga di sini
professionalism than I
sama
thought.
masalah-masalahnya.
In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Ini nggak cerita ke Lumin, tapi Furina udah tahu duluan kisahnya Lyney dan Lynette. Past-nya ini, masa lalu dia.
This is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up.
Kalau udah Archon Hydro berbicara sama Archon ya, dia tuh udah kayak gudang pengetahuan loh. Tapi memang nggak hampir semuanya ya pengetahuannya dia ambil atau dia manage.
I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Dikelola.
Yeah, sorry.
Menarik banget.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear your answer first, and no lies now!
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Keadilan harus ditegakkan dan yang bersalah memang harus dihukum.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh? Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Suara di ruang inti aura Chris. Lyney mengatakan kalau dirinya mendengar sesuatu yang misterius dari dalam ruangan yang berisi inti aura Chris di dalam struktur bawah tanah gedung opera. Oh. Bentar, gue ganti posisi dulu. Menarik nih, menarik banget. Intensnya dapet. Ini ruangan diskusinya gitu ya. Bagus banget hasilnya. Kita lanjutkan persidangannya teman-teman. Udah mulai panas pas dua pernyataannya dilewengkan ya sama
Both
Furina.
parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Lyney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Furina as fact. Therefore, Lady Furina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
Elegan banget asli dia.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Lyney's perspective.
Dari bagian yang nggak valid berdasarkan penjelasan kejadian yang diutarakan oleh pihak lain. Manfaatkan bukti dan petunjuk yang diperoleh dari investigasi kejadian untuk membantah pernyataan yang tidak valid dan menggantinya dengan dugaan yang baru. Oke, manfaatkan bantahanmu untuk meyakinkan hadirin di lokasi sehingga sudut pandangmu bisa memperoleh dukungan yang lebih kuat. Aura Chris oratrice akan menunjukkan perubahan ini dengan jelas. Setelah menemukan dan membantah semua pernyataannya tidak valid, kamu bisa menyelesaikan lingkaran sangkahan dan menguak kebenarannya.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel.
Oke, ini masuk ke terowongan.
When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud.
Kayaknya gue harus bisa pilih nih bukti yang kuatnya di sini buat ngebantah pernyataannya Furina. Tapi kalaupun gue pilihnya salah, masih bisa ulang sih. Tapi tetap aja gue nggak bisa memperhatikan di sini. Terus lewat, padahal udah sering ini. Udah memaham jelas ceritanya.
He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Lyney red-handed. So Lyney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Lyney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Furina's description of the events?
Tentu.
The key to refuting Lady Furina is the order of events. What Lyney experienced and what he saw.
Kita membantah kan ya? Ini terowongan betul. Cari kontradiksinya. Bentar, kalau cari kontradiksinya ini bisa sih, dia menculik Halsey, memukul ya. Tapi enggak, kalau ada pernyataan Halsey enggak memukul. Dia bahkan juga enggak tahu vas bunga itu kenapa bisa pecah. Coba yang ketiga ya teman-teman. Yang ketiga udah gue kayaknya cukup paham di sini. Coba ya. Oke, membantah dengan bukti-bukti yang ada di sini yang kita kumpulkan. Yaps, dia ke inti oratrice terus lubang ventilasi. Dia mengaku nggak menyaksikan kejadiannya dan tidak mendengar suara apapun. Bantah dengan ini coba ya. Kurang efektif, oke. Kalau yang ini kondisi keluar masuk gedung opera. Tidak ada yang meninggalkan gedung opera selama pertunjukan sulap. Dan setelah insiden itu terjadi, hanya mereka yang identitasnya sudah selesai diperiksa oleh guard sajalah. Ini mengatakan kalau dia mendengar sesuatu yang misterius. Yaps, kalau ini memang nggak relate ya. Sebentar deh, gue cari-cari dulu. Pakai mic Halsey, wanita yang hilang ditemukan di terowongan. Dan dia pun pasti bingung saat melihatnya. Apa ini ya? Entar dulu deh. Tidak ada yang meninggalkan gedung opera. Masih kurang efektif. Kalau secara case-nya ini benar, dia nggak bunuh Halsey dari pernyataan si Lyney. Tapi apa ya evidence-nya? Ini nggak berhubungan kan? Bener deh.
Lyney went to the room that contains the Archon's core.
This is the actual truth.
Ya, begitu. Dia masuk ke dalam ruangan tempat Inti Orates berada. Ini adalah kejadian sebenarnya. Iya, dia pernah ngomong sih, tapi gue takutnya nggak berhubungan gitu sama kasus yang pembunuhan Halsey. Dia kan nggak terlibat di pembunuhan itu. Ini memukul Cowell hingga pingsan. Kalau memukul Cowell, dia memang nggak ada keterikatan begitu ya. Dan dia lihat hanyalah, coba cari kontradiksinya. Setelah memasuki terowongan ini, langsung menuju ke ruangan buktinya apa? Bentar, laptop gue mau low baterainya. Coba yang menyerang Halsey ya. Ini kan udah dapat yang di sini. Coba suara keras itu berasal dari pertikaian antara Lyney dan Halsey. Gue mau coba nggak salah gitu loh. Kalau gue menyelewengkan buktinya. Tapi kalau salah di sini, kalau di game nggak apa-apa. Cuma kalau pas udah di sidangnya, Oke, benar.
According to Lyney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey.
Kayaknya pakai logika, teman-teman. Lyney kebetulan, coba yang ini ya. Lyney memasuki terowongan. Setelah hitungan mundur dimulai. Entar dulu deh, coba yang ini dulu. Terus kan Lyney kebetulan bertemu dengan Cowell pada saat kejadian tersebut. Karena itu Lyney memukul Cowell hingga pingsan menggunakan panas bunga. Dan terjadilah insidennya.
Lyney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Lyney did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent.
Wow.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell
Mau bunuh siapa?
Assuming that what you say is true, Lyney only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell them! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around. Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Ternyata Lyney suara oratrice. Banyak pernyataan yang bisa kita lempar di sini. Oke.
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought?
Salah. Oke. Betul, kalau gua salah nggak bisa, teman, fatal. Ada kaitan sama alat sini, kaitan sama pernyataan. Oke. Suara dentumannya brak itu ya. Dia nggak ada perselisihan sama Halsey. Si Lyney ini. Masih salah ya, padahal dia kan si Furinanya kan bilang ngeculik si Furinanya bilang Lyney-nya ngeculik Halsey. Terus si Halsey-nya kan nggak ada ininya, keterikatan sama Lyney. Suara aneh yang kayak brak mungkin ini.
That's right! Lyney wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Lyney had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played.
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lyney who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Anjir lah. Nalar lagi kita. Oke. Tangkinya terjatuh. Ada bunuh kowel di dalam kotak. Sementara melalui terowongan yang sama, Lyney pun mengarah ke sisi satunya. Setelah ganti baju, Lynette dan asistennya akan ambil alih interaksi di atas panggung. Pakaian milik Halsey, wanita yang hilang ditemukan di terowongan. Penyebabnya masih belum diketahui. Ini apa ya? Buat di sini. Siapa satu-satunya orang yang mungkin melakukan kejahatan itu? Halsey sendiri gitu? Pilih petunjuk apapun untuk melihat detail informasinya. Berarti belum memilih kepastiannya kan?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Dia bebas mengotak-atik peralatan. Ini apa?
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility?
Pihak ketiga. Kalau pihak ketiganya dia di luar dari rombongan pesulapnya,
Halsey
maybe.
is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along?
Buat apa dia nggak ada nggak ada sama konflik dengan rombongan pesulap?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Kalau Cowell kan masih make sense ya, sedikit tapi sih. Ya kalau dia memang mengotak-atik peralatannya dan ada intens atau niat buat kayak bunuh diri gitu, mungkin bisa sih. Baiknya gitu ya. Dia ngotak-atik peralatan dengan sendirinya di luar pengetahuan Lyney dan Lynette. Dan dia tertimpa ya oleh mekanisme itu atau benda kotaknya. Tewas dia dan itu sesuai planningnya dia. Maksudnya apa tapi nggak tahu sih. Mungkin tapi dia bisa niat dengan bunuh diri tanpa kasih tahu dengan yang lainnya. Dan buat apa buat dikasih tahu ke yang lain?
Could there have been a third person
Kalau pihak
involved?
ketiga, kalau dia
Is
nggak,
that really a possibility?
kalau dia tidak termasuk rombongan pesulapnya, it's okay. Mungkin memang pihak dari luar sana.
The
Cara Cowell
deceased's
sama
name
ini
is
sih.
Cowell,
Dua ini. Kalau dia kan nggak ada keterikatan dan selisih antara Lyney dan Lynette. Dia nggak ada konflik dengan mereka. Coba pilih yang ini kali ya.
Been a third person involved?
Pilih petunjuk. Oh, salah cap. Dua ini batinnya. Gua milihnya Cowell sih, tapi kalau Halsey kenapa ya?
The deceased's name is Cowell.
Cowell sendiri kah? Iya betul, Cowell.
That can't be right. Are you serious?
Kalau itu mungkin pernyataan gue ya, nggak tahu kalau di Lumin atau yang lainnya. Kalau pernyataan gue, si Cowell ngotak-ngatik peralatannya dan dia mungkin ada yang sesuatu yang tadi yang dia otak-atik, dan yang kedua dia sengaja bunuh diri. Dua kemungkinan itu sih. Karena lalai ya, atau intensi dia ingin bunuh diri, nggak ngerti.
The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
Astaga.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Oke, reka ulang kebenaran apa yang dilakukan Cowell hingga dia berubah dari korban menjadi pelaku. Rencana Cowell dan situasi di dalam terowongan. Aduh, menesnya ini nih. Gimana caranya ya? Memang ada dugaan sih. Bagaimana cara menganalisa bahwa ini tidak berhubungan dengan rencana kejahatan dan kenapa bisa Cowell?
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey?
Pantas di Sumeru ada opsi kita bisa pilih opini kita biar kelihatan lebih menarik dan imersif.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Ini memang make sense. Si Cowell mau otak-ngatik peralatannya, ya mungkinnya dia lalai dan peralatannya jatuh menimpa dia sendiri. Atau ya bisa jadi sih. Terus
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So there must have been some fear that she would attract attention.
Terus hasilnya ya kemana dong dia? Iya itu juga jadi pertanyaan loh. Hasilnya kemana berarti? Enggak, ini bukan konfrontasi antara Halsey dan pelakunya.
It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would
Halo,
likely
Kurumi.
have bumped into Lyney as well.
Dua orang tidak muat. Iya, ini make sense sih. Dua orang nggak muat di ventilasi. Dan mereka juga bisa tanpa sengaja ketemu Lyney. Kalau nggak muat di ventilasi mah bener sih. Dua orang nggak bisa muat di situ. Coba ini.
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey?
Iya, hasilnya kemana ini?
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. Halsey's clothing was in the
Terakhir nggak
tunnel.
tahu gue temen-temen. Kalau
So, there must have been
dua ini masuk sih. Pakaian Halsey memang tergeletak di lantai.
clothing was in the tunnel. So,
Lantai yang
there
di
must have
terowongan
been
itu.
some fear that she would attract attention.
Iya. Pelakunya pasti takut Halsey akan menarik perhatian. Satu lagi nggak tahu gue. Cara ini sih paling. Coba ya teman-teman, nggak tahu gue. Masih salah, keliru dong. Diulang lah. Oh, yang kawalnya hilang tapi.
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey?
Ya kan kawalnya hilang loh. Tapi nggak muncul di sini. Really?
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, the sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
Rak itu ya. Oke, kita coba kalau ada terdengar suara brak yang tadi.
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the... Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment.
Oh enggak ding, gua harus lihat ininya pak.
Lyney was not in the tunnel at...
Oke, bentar.
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the
Nggak bisa
missing
gua
Halsey
ini ya,
and the
bisa
criminal.
sih. Bagaimana cara menganalisa bahwa ini tidak berhubungan dengan rencana kejahatan?
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our...
Ganti. Bagaimana cara membuktikan bahwa memang terjadi konflik di dalam terowongan yang suara brak tadi mungkin? Mana brak?
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
Ya, mungkin bisa jadi. Siapa tersangka utamanya?
The
Cowell.
deceased's name is Cowell.
Kemana hilangnya Halsey?
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So,
Iya, kita nggak tahu Halsey ke
both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lyney as well.
atau dia ke ventilasi atau dia keluar.
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the...
Pelakunya bawa Halsey kemana? Gak tahu. Itu salah coy. Kayaknya bener nih.
It would have been tough
Berarti yang
for
ini
both
ya,
people to
ventilasi. Gue mikirnya pas di ventilasi itu si Lyney-nya yang masuk ke dalam, teman-teman. Cuman Lyney aja gitu. Pas dia ngecek ini ya, oratrice di bawah tanah gitu. Atau mungkin hipotesis gue juga salah sih. Pelakunya harus paham trik Lyney. Iya, hasilnya kemana ya? Luminya nggak ngomong, teman-teman. At least ada 1 atau 2 sentence gitulah, atau kalimat. Ini tidak di dalam terowongan selama 1 menit penuh. Iya, nggak ada yang sah tahu, karena nggak bisa keluar masuk gedung juga, dan yang ventilasi itu harusnya kan si Lyney yang bisa masuk, dan 2 orang juga nggak bisa masuk ventilasi, teman-teman.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Ini yang jadi pertanyaannya, Paimon, hasilnya kemana?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Loloskan diri dari tangki air. Sulap.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Ada apa dengan tangkinya? Kita belum periksa alatnya ya di sini.
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Pasnya.
The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
Oke. Oke. Fast-nya.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Oh, just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
Permintaan untuk memeriksa barang pribadi Cowell.
Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Lyney already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Even so, I trust the traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense.
Mungkin sudut pandang baru akan terungkap kalau kita coba mendapatkan semua fakta yang tidak masuk akal.
Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cowell.
Setelah beberapa saat, salah seorang anggota guard
We
kembali.
are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject.
Khusus orang-orang Fontaine.
As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Lautan primordial.
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Lyney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all.
Kait logamnya.
Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Air dari lautan primordial, cairan yang ditemukan para guard di dalam koper milik Cowell tampaknya mempunyai kekuatan yang melarutkan orang fonten, khusus buat orang fonten. Jadi air. Angkanya Cowell.
The deceased's name is Cowell.
Kita pilih dulu. Barang apa yang digunakan pelakunya untuk mengontrol waktu pelarutan? Mengontrolnya itu antara tali barang ya.
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box.
Ada hal lain dilapiskan dalam kotak itu. Mengontrol kan ya? Coba
The
gua
water
pilih ini
from the
dulu.
primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box.
Mengontrol waktu pelarutan. Bukan barang apa yang digunakan pelakunya untuk melarutkan ya. Ini mengontrol waktu pelarutan.
The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was
Pemicu.
instead some form of triggering mechanism.
Coba pilih ini dulu deh. Antara ini sama ini sih. Barang apa yang digunakan pelakunya untuk melakukan Halsey?
The
Ini.
water from the primordial sea should already.
Barang apa yang digunakan pelaku untuk menyembunyikan mekanisme di balik kejahatan tersebut? Tangkinya. Tapi yang mana ya?
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this?
Menyembunyikan mekanismenya di balik kejahatan tersebut. Lynette nggak ada hubungan, nggak tahu deh.
I remember there was something else within the inner layer.
Ini sih mungkin coba. Oh, bener banget anjir lah. Gila, hipotesis gue. Padahal masih menerka-nerka loh di akhirnya. Kok hubungan sama Lynette dia nggak ada, teman-teman.
In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target.
Targetnya pasti.
When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box.
Waktu kotak ajaib berisi hasil diturunkan, kait akan bergerak perlahan sampai akhirnya menusuk balon di atas kotak. Oke.
When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage.
Kawa masuk ke terowongan untuk memecahkan vas dan menyembunyikan air dalam terowongan. Lalu bukti sisanya akan ditutupi oleh tangki air di panggung.
But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Untuk menutupi jejaknya.
Huh, that does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death.
Iya, kematiannya Cowell.
His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Lyney's personal effects.
What?
That can't be. Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you.
Anjir, ini bakal jadi perjalanan yang panjang banget pengadilannya.
Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. Lyney did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Lyney desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I right, Mr. Lyney?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here.
Nggak ada yang bisa dipakai buat ngebantah.
Is this the end of the road?
Really?
Oh no.
Waduh, gawat. Nggak ada yang relate loh ngebantahnya di sini.
There's any way around this. Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now?
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view,
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Lyney.
Wow,
if you would be so
apa nih?
kind.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lyney and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry, Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
Oh.
And voila!
Hey, Halsey.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
Oh, mungkin kalau si Cole ini ngelibatin ke Lyney barangnya itu biar Lyney itu bersalah. Nggak ngerti dah gue padahal.
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl.
Oh.
I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lily.
Oh, Lilian.
And I'm originally from Mondstadt.
Dari Mondstadt.
I heard that Lyney's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before.
Jangan-jangan dia yang di Cold Or Martin itu ya, yang pas di awal cerita itu.
But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago,
Nah, ini
and I
pelabuhan
barely
ini.
got away. Lyney was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Lyney even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
this time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective.
Oke. Apa tapi ya? Banyak opsinya di sini. Selotas tali yang jatuh ke tanah sebuah kait logam dengan tangan untuk menghancurkan balon di atas kotak sulap terikat ke salah satu ujung tali. Pas bunga yang pecah. Iya, kalau Halsey pernah ganti bajunya di situ, dia ditemukan terowongan pakaiannya. Ini kurang efektif. Kalau dentuman keras ya kayak ditonjok ya kata si Liliana ini. Kurang efektif juga. Yang pas kah? Ini apa sih emang? Jadi konflik terowongan. Pas bunga yang pecah dong.
The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between
Tidak
Lillian and
sengaja
Cowell.
pecah. Oh iya, pas ketika yang masuk akal sih Lilian yang Cowell terus kena vas bunga, jadi jatuh ya kan? Dan itu nggak sengaja gitu. Kalau Cowell hingga pingsan, ini enggak sih. Coba yang satu lagi nih. Ini hasil dilarutkan. Udah lelah gue.
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened. Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top. escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk
Oh,
about a
pantas.
sneaky thief.
Nevia nyangkanya 5 dimakan Paimon.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Furina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Furina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that. She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise.
Iya. Dia bukan dari Fontaine katanya.
Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Lyney, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Lyney, the accused, is in fact innocent.
Innocent.
While there is much in Lyney and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision.
Wah, keren banget.
As such, Lyney and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
partners. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Lyney's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Lyney, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Lyney, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
Oh. Dia berubah jadi air. Gua pikir dia ngebeku. Ternyata dia berubah jadi air.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
Siapa bosnya? Siapa bosnya, teman-teman? Itu nggak mengesankan banget loh.
So, we're just going back now?
Oke, untuk sementara udah beres lah ya.
That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Lyney...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Lyney this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all.
Asal ngomongin Fatui.
That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
Otets. Nama ayahnya mereka.
The knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic, It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Lyney.
Bye, Lyney.
Berarti udah selesai ya, nggak ada apa-apa lagi di bawah. Takutnya ada misalnya interaksi gitu teman-teman. Sebelum meninggalkan tempat opera ini. Kayak nggak ada lah ya. Kita bakil teman-teman, balik. Udah panjang banget ini quest. Gua harus tinggalkan area ini dulu sebentar. Ya.
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
Aku,
Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah. I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Oh, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal? Well, guess you really did treat us as partners, huh?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets later. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
Okay.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navi is treating, kill Paimon in!
Oh, wonderful! In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
Alright then, let's have our farewell meal!
Oke, chapter 4 bagian satunya udah selesai. Kita tinggal lanjut ke bagian keduanya nih teman-teman. Pergi ke bengkel tempat. Oh enggak, ke Hotel de Boer. Bengkel tempat apa ya? Quest apa itu? Untuk pengadilan sidangnya sementara udah selesai ya. Dan ini sempat memberikan pencerahan kepada Lumin terkait dari visi dan misinya ya di House of Death itu. Dia berusaha ingin menggagalkan ramalan yang tersebut yang bisa mengakibatkan bencana besar katanya. Di Fontaine atau di dunia Tepa nggak ngerti deh. Dia lagi cari caranya sih. Yang gua tangkap sih seperti itu ya. Kurang lebih. Oke, sekarang mungkin habis keluar dari gedung opera ini, gua ini dulu ya teman-teman, cukupkan dulu untuk gameplaynya. Karena udah mungkin kurang lebih 2 jam ya gua live stream ini. 2 jam setengah. Gua mau istirahat dulu sebentar aja. Mungkin malam akan gua coba lanjutkan lagi, gua sambungkan Quest Archon ini. Memang masih panjang ya. Dan ceritanya menarik. Tapi tidak terlalu kompleks juga ya, masih bisa nalar dikit lah. Hubungannya nih kita apa ya? Kita naik dulu ya berarti ke mana sih kok konten ya? Bisa teleport juga sih, nggak apa-apa. OTP sini dulu deh. Menarik dan unik ya ceritanya di sini. Harus nalar-nalar dikit gitu. Meskipun salah pun nggak apa-apa sih kalau di game kayak gini ya. Tapi seru sih. Jadi kita tuh kayak disuruh nalar dan berpikir sebelum bertindak, teman-teman. Berhubung dengan knowledge juga ya, wisdom. Jadi logika kita harus dijalankan di sini. Ini apa ya, by the way? Bentar. Oke, hadiahnya ya. Gua klaim dulu sebentar. Lumayan. Tinggal yang ini ya, bagi rintik hujan turun tanpa sebab. Ini sebentar. Quest dulu, bentar, lihat dulu. Di mana ya? Nah, sini kah? Ya. Laksana rembulan kemarin di tahun terdahulu. Ini sudah bebas dari tuduhan, tapi sekarang kamu tidak tahu harus melakukan apa. Gabut ya. Akhirnya kamu menerima tawaran maka perpisahan Navia untuk merayakan kerjasama kalian. Kita kayaknya bakal ketemu sama Child dan Chlorine deh di sini. Ini juga quest story terkait ayah. Enggak, ini ya quest story yang lain, cok. Lupa gue. Ini questnya dia, lupa gue. Kita fokus ke sini dulu deh kalau begitu. Nanti gue coba sambungkan di tengah malam nanti ya teman-teman, insya Allah. Dan makasih buat kalian semua yang udah mampir, yang udah subrek, like, dislike, komentar, dan share juga ya. Jadi gue cukupkan dulu untuk gameplay Genshin Impact di Fontaine kali ini. Gue aja pamit dulu teman-teman. Gue VGMI. Bye bye, see you next time. Tak kiri dulu.